Let me tell you a story about a Batman fan. She's a former judge. Her judicial chambers was floor-to-ceiling Batman memorabilia, and I suppose you could say she wanted to be a superhero. There came a point in time, however, that her code, her ethical integrity, required her to walk away from an otherwise promising career. The fork in the road appeared before her this year, and she made the decision to take the one less traveled by. Although she knew she made the right decision by leaving the robe and the gavel in the rearview mirror, she was having anxiety, and that led her to seek out some guidance from an expert who ultimately led her to a mind-bending, game-changing, life-altering conclusion. She is neurodivergent, and more specifically, she's autistic. Now, before I get into what that means, let me first explain why this is relevant to helping you figure out your superpowers. As human beings, we all have abilities, disabilities, and traumas. Every superhero has an origin story where you discover what tragedy or trauma that you've overcome. They discover later in adulthood that there's an institution that they believe in that's let them down. They often suffer a moral betrayal. They choose not to be victimized by others' failures and are often empowered by an internal motivator to bring a greater good to the world. So all of us carry something closely that we've experienced that's left a mark. It could have been a trauma, tragedy, discrimination, poverty, disability, relationship, or any multitude of possibilities. We all have origin stories. So consider what's left a mark on you and your own origin story. So she had several marks, but most of them came back to the same thing. She felt alien, like she didn't fit in, but she didn't feel smart. Eccentric, creative maybe, but not smart. So to find out, even in a late stage in life, that she was autistic was a blessing. So suddenly, so many things made sense. The issues she had in school had nothing to do with her intelligence or abilities. It literally had to do with the fact that it was like she spoke another language. You see, a lot of autistic people don't think or use language in their processing of information. They use symbols or sounds or images. For her, if she could send an image or music in response to a text or email instead of words, she'd be much better at communication. Listening can be difficult because with every word you say, a projection begins in her mind. So if you were simply to say the word Batman, automatically every image, movie, clip that's in her mental database begins to roll. So then her brain starts to categorize all the various images and decide what it is that she's interested in viewing: cartoons, TV, movies, comics, graphic novels, or video games, the various quotes, voices, certain sensations, smells, or other images that she associates with the greatest superhero of all time. And now imagine that you and she are in a conversation. She's processing images with everything that you say. That's a lot of data. She'll miss information that you're sharing with her because she's imagining a lot of things with what you're sharing. And because her bat brain may have continued into other bat areas like Robin, or how she's still nostalgic about Michael Keaton as Batman. And wasn't it cool how apparently he told Tom Holland on the set of Spider-Man, "I'm Batman"? And you may have just told her some horrific news, like you're dealing with a tremendous crisis, and she's smiling or worse, laughing because she's still processing Batman. So it's a bit like living in an alternative universe, and there's times that she has to ask or consider if there's things she said out loud, or if there are things that are still in her mind. The intensity of thought is difficult to explain and is apparently very common with people with autism. She has difficulty registering time because she's so intensely involved in her mental exercises. So needless to say, she missed a lot of what happened in class in school because she was still processing the first thing the teacher said, and then the next thing she knew, class was over. Other aspects of being neurodivergent: sensitivity to light. Bright lights are extremely painful. She composes music within patterns of white noise, but cannot handle certain high-pitched noises like bells. She thought her issues with looking people in the eye had to do with being an introvert, but nope, that has to do with autism. She began compensating with that as a child by looking at people's noses. And then later, if people are far away, she could look at their mouths. Well, as a result of that, she learned to lip read. It's a great skill to have. It would seem her desire for rules, order, ethical accountability, and honesty, living by a rigid code, are also associated with autism. She's a literal thinker. She misses a lot of reading between the lines. Don't throw her drift because she won't catch it. And this lack of understanding of nuance led her to begin adapting how she read by reverse engineering information. It's kind of like diagramming sentences, but with analysis, synthesis, and evaluation involved. If a sentence is written in a passive way, she would rearrange it to be more active, making it easier for her to catch a drift. This ability helped her to decipher complex, technical, theoretical, and dense information into clear, concise, usable text. Now, if she could understand people socially, she'd be in good shape. She always said she wished people had a theme song, like in a movie, so that when they walked in a room, she knew what she was dealing with. So hopefully you've caught my drift that I'm talking about me. So it turns out that my greatest struggles growing up and recently in adjusting to a major life change has revealed not just my limitations, but also my greatest strengths. So what I'm saying is autism is not necessarily my superpower, but it's certainly not my kryptonite. So in getting back to your origin story, know that the marks that are left on you are not your kryptonite. So in figuring out your superpower, guess what? There's really nothing to figure out. The reality is you already have power. We all do. It's the choice to use them for heroic purpose that makes them super. So let me say that again. It's the choice to use the powers for heroic purpose that makes them super. So today, use your superpower by giving a kind word to someone who's exhausted from a personal struggle, or disagree with someone agreeably, with respect. Tell the truth because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to gain something from it. Don't fake it till you make it. That's fraud. Face it till you achieve it because that's genuine. Actively engage in the world with integrity and choosing to be heroic when it won't be easy and it will require true grit, the kind that when nothing is handed to you, nothing is owed to you, still drives you towards justice and righteousness and a desire to invest in the betterment of the world. So, see, you already have superpowers. It's just up to you to be a superhero. Thank you.